Hey there, my favorite co-parents. It's your girl, Alysha Price, and I would like to let you in on a nice little secret for the winter. With winter in full swing, now is the perfect time to start your skincare journey with Oheni Beauty. Your skin deserves a nice warm hug, and Oheni's handmade vegan soaps and moisturizers are just what you need to keep moisturized, nourished, and radiant through the winter season. Now, this family-owned DC-based brand specializes in small batch plant-based products that tackle winter dryness, and they focus in areas that big box brands just don't. Plus, with every purchase, you're supporting youth enrichment programs that teach STEM concepts through soap making. How cool is that? So treat yourself this season. Visit Oheni Beauty and use my code COPARENT20 for 20% off your order. Your skin is going to thank you for the love later. Hello and welcome to Co-Parenting Confessions. I am your host, Alysha Price. And okay, you already know the deal. You need to like, share, subscribe, because I need you to stick and stay here where the co-parenting conversation is the best. We're normalizing the real shit that you go through. So without further ado, I have an amazing guest. And when I tell you that this is like real life co-parenting, no one is exempt. We all understand what co-parenting is. We're all living amazing lives and we're busy, but guess what? We're raising children and we have to collaborate with someone else in order to do that. And I have Chef Ed Porter from Pressure Cooker that is currently on Netflix in the building today. And Chef is here to tell us about his co-parenting experience and chime in a little bit about how co-parenting can be a little messy sometimes, but you make it work. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my very special guest, Chef Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And the cool thing is we're normalizing this co-parenting conversation. And when we have people that are esteemed, great chef who's on television, and then we're like, oh, wait, he's co-parent?
Yeah. No, nobody, like, I like what you said.
Yes.
Nobody is exempt. And
Yes.
the real of it all is that there is no one size fits all for situations.
Yep.
And things happen and there's just ways to, it's not what you go through, it's how you come out of it.
Yes.
And I don't know a single situation to where things haven't started off rocky in some ways. It's just about not making it stay rocky.
Yep.
We get through it all. So
when you talk about the rocky, right?
Mhm.
It's not what happens, it's how you come out of it,
Absolutely.
right? What was your experience or what has your experience been?
I mean, we all have friends, right? That you've all been witness to some of the bull, right?
Yep.
And then like, no, not me. I'm not going through that, right?
It won't be me.
It won't be me. Not only is it going to be you, it's going to be you on steroids. So it's look, the emotions are a fickle thing, and I'll tell you, women are some of the most beautiful, most evil. No, and it's just individuals. No, so
Yes.
here's the thing: women and for the most, for lack of another term, are a lot more in tune with emotion than men are, right? So they lead with emotion.
Yep.
And if a woman does not care about you, they don't get all rah-rah. So that's, now men don't take that into consideration when all this stuff's going. It is like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be crazy
Right.
if she didn't care.
Yep.
Because when people don't care, they don't care.
They don't care. They just don't care.
They completely check out.
Yep.
And me as a Scorpio understands that fully.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You done started out with me as a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we have talked about co-parents and the compatibility as we talk about the zodiac sign. My co-parent is a Scorpio. We've had a whole conversation about See? Thank you. Sorry.
Is he a November Scorpio?
Yes.
I'm a November Scorpio.
Yes.
Yeah.
It gets real in the field.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I was on a flight with a numerologist and someone that deals with zodiac. She's the one that put me onto it. I had no idea.
Yep.
I had no. She said that everybody's life is governed by a number, and their sign, whether they're rising or is what governs their. And I'm like, but yeah, no, 100% right. So 3 is my number. I found that out.
Okay.
So I'm the third child born on the third day of November, which was a Wednesday. for a long period. I had my 3 girls that were born are 3 weeks apart, born in the 3rd
Wow.
week of the month that they're in. My name is everything's 3 are divisible by
Yes.
3. So even my name, Edward Porter, 6 characters in both.
Yep.
It's crazy. All my numbers through high school, like sports, was 3 or
Yes.
divisible. So I didn't know it was that deep. We're not that unique people.
And then when when you unlock all of these things, and we were talking about that compatibility in your zodiac sign and how you're governed and all of those things, because some of those things have a part in our characteristics and the ways
Yeah.
that we interact with other people. And
Yeah,
so
your tendencies, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
people are geared to lean in one way. It's not saying that you're this way, that way, but
Yes.
you are more apt to lean one way or another,
Yep.
depending on how the stars align for you. And
Yeah.
then you have everybody has idiosyncrasies and
Yep.
things that they're buttons to push. But when a woman
Yes.
feels like she has no other options and she feels wronged, let me just say that.
Yep, I was just
She
gonna say
feels
she feels wronged.
whether she was or not.
Yes.
Whether she feels wrong,
Yep.
she's gonna get on the elevator and push all the buttons.
like one at a time.
Oh
Beep,
yeah.
beep,
Look.
beep.
And last but not least, emergency.
Yeah.
I want you to hear the ringing while the door's shut. And there's no way around that. And yeah, but and as men, let me speak for myself.
Yes.
For me, I was never really open about my innermost feelings and how it's not how I was raised.
Yep.
It's not how our society, our culture.
Yep.
We're taught to be outward and open and wear your heart on your sleeve, which is what it's something I promote heavily to this day. And so people will do to you what you allow them to do.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you say no, and then I used to hear no,
Yep.
is
It's
when
like you never say yes.
now that okay,
Yep.
now we in for a real tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
So then for whatever reason, some people, and it's not just a woman thing or a man thing,
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. They will use and do anything to evoke any emotion, good or bad, because anything's better than nothing. And a lot of times, the people that get hurt the most are the kids.
Yep.
And
that's real. And I love that you said people will do anything to evoke emotion. So if you are a man who felt like perhaps this is not in my nature to be, sharing how I'm feeling, I'm not catering to your, emotion. So let me do whatever possible to get some kind of rise out of you.
I need
because you ain't giving me nothing at this point.
Absolutely.
And working overtime to combat what that is. And then, just how eye-opening it is to have that enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
To finally realize that it's not necessarily a you and me issue. It's a what you're lacking type of an issue.
It comes to a point, I know. In relationships, whether romantic or not, there's a conversation that should happen that never happens usually. And it's the needs and wants conversation.
Yep.
Right? So the wants, they can be dealt with. I mean, that'll come, through casual dating and things of that nature. The needs are the non-negotiables that need to be discussed that never usually are discussed until something happens, right?
Yep.
Because you have to give a person an opportunity to either meet you where you're at, or be able to tell you like that's not my. I'm not
fucking with that.
But most people don't know themselves well enough to know what.
Yes.
And so and they learn those things by what I know what I don't want.
Yes.
Right.
And I noticed that a lot. People are more equipped to talk about what they do not like, what they do not want. Or you will ask a person what they want or what they like. And it's like, I'm good. It's good. Everything's good.
Yeah. Oh, everything's
good. Or what you mean? I mean, I'm cool. No, I'm not asking you how you feel right now.
Yeah.
But what do you want? What do you need?
And that's code for you just haven't fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't pushed the wrong button yet. But when you do, I'm gonna let you know.
Right. If I have nothing to say, that means you're good right now.
Right now.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have a list.
And that's I believe the downfall of any relationship, again, romantic aside, is those idiosyncrasies and those conversations that are never had, and learning yourself, right? Know what it is that makes you tick.
Yep.
what it is that you desire and you need. There's a difference between needing and wanting. We all want shit, right? But there's certain things like what are your love languages? Like truly, truly understand what those things are. And then the flip side is also more important, I believe, to not only know what you need, but know what you're willing to give. Because you have to be, it's a give and take
That's
thing.
big.
Yeah.
Because that's what relationship is and partnership, right?
Yeah,
and you can't just only be ready for somebody to pour into you and you have nothing to give back.
Absolutely.
So you have to be ready to do that. Now, you're a co-parent.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this. You have, was it 6 children?
6 children.
6 children.
Yeah.
And there are 3 mothers.
4.
4 mothers.
Yeah, well, so I'm a blended family. So I'm remarried.
Okay.
I have 5 children. My wife has 1.
Yes.
4 mothers, including my wife.
Yep.
My eldest is 25. Then I have a 23-year-old, 20, 17, 16, and 9.
Okay.
So I covered the gambit. So,
yes.
Yeah, so I'm in there with you and some others.
Right.
And some more. Yeah. Listen, I am a proud father. I love this. Fatherhood saved my life.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Oh, I love that.
I'm also a musician.
Okay.
So I ran the gambit. I was everywhere. I traveled tons very early. I was, when I initially came to Minneapolis, I think I came to Minneapolis 2 weeks after my 21st birthday. And before that was my first time leaving New York City. I'm from New York. But I was just, I ran wild. And it wasn't.
You was on your Scorpio-ish.
Listen, to the fullest though. Oh my God, to the 19th power. And I just was, the world was my oyster. And my vice was living. Never into drugs, none of them things. I just wanted to just experience things.
Yeah.
And being a father narrowed the world down for me to understand that it's a lot bigger than just me. I have other people to fend for. At first it was my son. And it focused me.
Yep.
And on my album I have a song called Perfect Pictures, which is dedicated to my kids.
I love it.
And so it's my open love letter to them in real time. And I talk about all the things that we're talking. I say, about, I had their mother saying ill stuff about me to my kids.
Wow.
That was not true. Not only was it not true, but even if it was true, is that the angle that you want to go?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that your stance that you want to take to try to ruin the relationship with my child? And ultimately, you're just, when it's all said and done, you're going to be looked at funny.
Yep.
Because it won't be 9 forever. They're going to grow up. They're going to understand. They're going to get in relationships with other people.
Yep.
And then they're going to say that, my mom did some really.
And then they start living. They start living and having relationships. And on top of that, not only do they start living and having relationships, but they start to understand who their father is as a person.
Exactly. We are people. Parents are people.
Right. And I tell people all the time, and this is a crazy space to be in doing this work, when I get to meet many men who are co-parents or trying to co-parent, I understand so much now why men aren't in the lives of their children. And it is a hard thing to say, and it feels really fucked up coming out of my mouth. But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because I also understand that there are a lot of women that are so hurt that they are fixed on shaping the narrative of who that man is for their children.
Right.
And when they work overtime at that shit to the point where it's like, how do I break through that?
Right.
How do I build something new? But how do I tear down what you've built? How did you combat that when you recognized there were things being said about you that did not fit your character of who you know yourself to be?
Well, I'm a child of co-parenting. So I understood the importance of presence.
There you go.
And so I'm a junior, right? And I don't really relate too heavily for a lot of years with my father.
Yeah.
I was blessed enough to have a father in my life
Yes.
when I needed him most. You
Yeah.
know, so thank God, you know,
Yep.
for my father. Who knows, you know, what I would have done or been
Yep.
had he had not guided me at that, you know, juncture in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But because of those things, I knew how important. First off, I I could not imagine not being present for my kids.
Yep.
If there's nothing that any of these women could do to make me just, you know what, I'm just not wired that way.
Yep.
And I know what it's like to be a kid, and as a child, all you want to do is belong, right? And
Yeah.
so when you're searching for belonging and where your people at. You're searching for your people. And when you have the people that are supposed to love you the most, I'm a girl dad. So I know that it's my responsibility. I have one son, but I know for my daughters, it's my responsibility to be their example
Yep.
for how a man is supposed to treat a woman,
Absolutely.
even through angst.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that kept me in check a lot of times. Now, not to say that I'm no angel,
Yeah.
right? Again, I am a Scorpio, and you can only push me but so far, and then it becomes to you want the smoke, you get the smoke, right? But at the end of the day, for me, it's more about people will forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel, right?
Yeah.
And so I fought through a lot, even with my, you know, my current wife. Like that was how, and again, I understand timelines for kids. They don't understand time and how things, you know, manifest. And you know, my divorce was rocky. I served my wife, my ex-wife. You know, and women, let's be frank, especially beautiful women, are not used to hearing no.
Yeah.
Or that I'm cool.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
and it wasn't so much. And again, it wasn't. And I don't know. For me, I always go about with everything in life now. I matured. How could I have done that better?
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure there's something I could have did
different.
No, there's not though. You know, it doesn't matter how it was framed. There was going to be smoke because it's not what she wanted.
Yeah.
Now, other than just suck it up and bite the bullet.
Yeah.
And you know, stay for all the wrong reasons or the right reasons, depending on whose, you know, view you're looking through.
Yep.
It became, we just wanted two different things. And I'm super driven, super focused on what I wanted to become, and I felt like I was being held back. And on top of being held back, uh, you know, talked down and belittled through it. Like the hell no! Like I
ain't signing up for
I
that.
am not. You can't sun me today. And no, and it's really that, and then the fact of like it can't be like, it shouldn't be this hard.
Yes,
it shouldn't be this hard.
That's a big one.
And I never got married with the intent to get divorced.
Yeah.
So I fought through that for the longest. And then it came to a point in time to where really what came to head for me with my marriage, my daughter, my eldest daughter, which was not with my ex-wife. Listen, you can do a lot to me and say a lot to me, but do not ever mistreat my kids. You.
Yeah.
Now I'll kill.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
When it became, you just wanted to get a rise out of me. You knew the only thing, because I'm not fazed by much. Now you can say I don't words to bounce off of me, but don't. So I'm gonna do something to get a rise out of you, and you picked the wrong one.
Yep.
And that was it.
That was the emergency button on the elevator.
And there's no going back. There's no going back from that. From me.
Yeah.
I don't, wish anybody any ill harm or have any ill wishes towards you. It was just that showed me that you don't respect me enough to do right by. And I hope, for my sake, more than yours, because I would be going to jail, that in your future endeavors, you never allow another man to try to treat our children, because I got bail money stashed for these reasons alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would, so, and again, I understand in the heat of passion or whatever you want to call it, but you got to have some sort of, bearings with yourself to know what right is right and wrong is wrong.
100%. And especially when you've created a family.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. It's like, well, where are the boundaries? You know, like it can't be gloves off.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't mind me asking, and it does, you don't have to say exactly,
Mhm.
but what are some of those things that were for some men that are out there, right? That are
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm in a relationship right now, and I feel like the woman I'm with doesn't respect my children or is
Yeah.
doing things, and I need to figure out how do I navigate this situation? Should I be leaving this situation? What are some of those things that you would say if this is happening, bruh?
I think it comes down to really, and this is again, this is so cliche,
Yep.
but you should treat a child how you would treat your child. And
Mm-hmm.
not saying you have to be the mom. I'm not
Yep.
saying she has a mom. She's good,
Yep.
but you should be motherly
Yes.
and or fatherly.
Yep.
You know, and again, as a we were all kids at one point in time.
Yep.
You know
You know
what's right
what
from
you
right and wrong from
yes.
wrong, and
Yes.
how to not to alienate, especially when there's other kids involved,
Mhm.
and you're dealing with kids that share a father, that have different mothers,
Yep.
trying to alienate them or doing things purposely
Yeah,
to
that's tough.
drive the wedge. Nah,
Yeah.
I can't get
Yeah.
with that.
And you're the mother of their sibling
Yes,
and you're doing these things. Yes.
something as far as that's
Yeah.
not your sister.
Not okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Not okay.
not only does it sound asinine,
Yeah.
because it is very
It is
asinine and it's not true.
right. Right. I was
But
gonna say because it
yeah,
actually really is.
that's the dumbest
Yeah.
part of it. But the fact that you even stoop that low
Yeah.
to even do that, for what reason? What are you gaining
Yep.
out of that other than to put ill thoughts into my daughter's head
Mm-hmm.
and to piss me off?
Right.
I know that's what really,
That was
and it
it.
wasn't.
That
It
was
really wasn't
it.
about my
That was
daughter.
the
It was
highest of
about
the
me.
highest.
Like
That
if
was
you want
it.
to,
That
if
was the goal.
your goal was to
Mm-hmm.
affect me, and you got that, but you got it in the wrong way.
Yep.
But my daughter can't be a casualty.
Yes.
So
That's it. The children cannot be a casualty
yeah,
to all the other shit that's going on. You're dealing with what you're dealing with, but my child has to be a casualty of that?
no,
Not
no,
okay.
not okay at all.
No.
And there's something to be said for as an adult where you get to a point to where you understand that this just is not probably going to be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason,
Yep.
for whatever could have went wrong, maybe you're doing, they're doing, whatever it is,
Right.
this ain't it, right? When there are kids involved, that comes in. Like any sane person would be like, okay, now, damn, like, what's the best situation for
For
my
the
kid,
kids.
right? The fact of the matter is, you don't want your kid to think that that shit is normal.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing for them is to see that, yeah, everybody makes mistakes,
Yep.
but we can fix said mistakes in the best way possible and get to a place, whatever the best case of normalcy, whatever that is.
Yep.
Because I can tell you, living in angst and trying to act like
That
that
ain't
ain't.
it. That ain't
I don't
it.
want my kids to think that this is how a man and a woman is supposed to
Yeah.
coexist
Yep.
and act towards one another. Because it's not. And for a long time, I definitely struggled with that. I did all the right
Yeah.
things for the wrong reasons,
Yep.
and knowing that I wasn't 100% my best self for myself first and foremost, but for my kids and
Mm-hmm.
for my ex. Like I truly want her to be happy, and like I'm
Yeah.
not that guy right now. So
Yep.
clearly, I'm not for you. Go find him
Right.
wherever he's at.
Right. Do
Find him,
it. Do it.
and we share life together. I'm gonna
Yeah.
always love you. Like you gave me something
Yes.
that that I can't repay you for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that doesn't indebt me for life to go to deal with bullshit though. You're not.
See, now this is big. I love you for what you gave me, but I am not in debt to you
Yes.
because you are the mother of my child. And a
Yeah.
lot of men feel like they're in that space.
Yeah.
I equate it to we all know somebody who did a bid, and they had the girl who held him down. She answered every phone call. She put
Put
money
money
on
on
his
the books.
books. She
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And now he gets out, and homeboy got a whole new vision. He got a whole new program.
He's a different man.
He's a
He's a
different
different
man.
man.
And yes, sweetheart, I thank you. You was there for me. But
Things have
there's so
changed.
right, but things change. And there's so many women though that stick and stay. They try to be in that space where you're always, kind of you need them for something. And then you have this kind of, the epiphany, the level up, the glow up, the
Right.
become a man,
Right.
you know. Um, and you're no longer that person and it doesn't fit their program anymore.
Right.
So, what I want to ask you in that vein is you're on television, you have a music career, you have an amazing blog happening right now, and we can flip on Netflix and watch you.
Mhm.
How has that affected your co-parenting relationships, and even though your children are older,
Still got a
have you
9-year-old. So
yeah,
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 so
yeah,
yeah, I
you do
still
still have a
yeah,
night,
so I
yeah.
still got a 9-year-old. There's perception is reality,
There,
right?
yep,
So everybody. Now here's the other thing. So I also did some Food Network stuff
yep,
prior.
yep.
So again, it's not my first rodeo, but national TV and Netflix is two different worlds. One's
Yes,
global and one's
yes,
not.
yes,
Netflix is global.
yes.
So I got to hit the translate button on messages that I get on Instagram. It's of course, when a person doesn't man or woman, when a person is forcefully not in a situation that they want to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't their choice,
Yep.
they are not rooting for your situation
Thank you.
at all.
At
like,
all.
like matter. We're not gonna say that I'm praying that something
Right.
happens ill, but if something should so happen to happen,
Right.
not in your favor,
Yeah. Right.
right? And that's just because of lack of involvement, right? Because they're not
They're
readily
tied to it.
tied
Yeah.
to success of it all,
Yep.
or whatever. So I mean, there's that. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh, you're doing this, that, and listen. I go above and beyond. I'm not looking for the pats on the back.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because one, I have the means to do it.
Yeah.
But two, I feel it's my duty to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for me,
Yeah.
it's for my kids.
Yeah.
And I'll run through a wall for them. And it's not for me to throw in their face either. Like,
Yep.
oh, look what I did for you. But they know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it comes down to effort, availability, and accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you have those things, and relationships change, right? Like
Yep.
even with the kids, you have a 20,
Yep.
22,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so from 9 to teens and then to
Yes.
20s, those are
Hella
three different
different.
people.
Hella different.
Those are three different people.
Yes.
And they pick and choose as they mature.
Yep.
The relationship changes. And it's not till about, I want to say, probably 25 is when they really look at us as people.
Mm.
Because we're just supposed to be,
Yep.
because we,
Yep.
your mom.
Yep.
You
You're here, take care of shit. We need you.
I just came to grips,
Yeah.
literally 2 years ago, with letting go of some shit I had. I was holding over my mom's head. Because I actually, for the first time,
Yeah.
and I'm 47.
Yeah.
For the first time, like, oh, I did the math.
Yeah.
I did the math.
Right. And you're
I'm
like, my mom was this
my mom was
age.
16 when
Thank you.
when she had my brother.
Yes. Yep.
My brother's 4 years older than me. It was three of us. I was the third one born.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's
right. So she had three
she
kids
was a
by the time
baby.
she was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
I got nothing to complain about. I really got nothing. I got nothing to
Literally,
complain
this
about.
thing has happened
She did
for
the
me.
best job possible.
Yes.
And I didn't want for shit. So I had to really, I apologize to mom. And it's not even for something that I said,
Yep.
because I would never disrespect my mother.
Right.
But the fact that I even
For what
felt
you were holding.
away, because we put our parents on a pedestal, and they're supposed to be beyond reproach
Yep.
of everything. And that's how our kids view us.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I had this conversation with my daughter. I just had this conversation with because I've gotten to a point to where I can't expect people to read my mind and understand how I feel. So I tell them, like, listen, if you do something to me and I don't like,
I'm gonna tell
you're
you
gonna
about
know.
it.
You're gonna know about
Yep.
it. Nobody on this planet that I have beef with don't know we got beef.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know it's smoke.
Yep.
It is no. I do not hold my tongue at all. But there's a way
to do it. Yep.
Yes, that I have to learn.
Yes.
I'm not. God's not done with me yet. So that's something that my daughters are teaching me, because I'm a little brash. But they know if you want the truth, you go to that man right there. Because I'm just gonna
give it to you.
This will be my truth. Not saying it's the gospel. This is how I see it. But it comes down to intention, right?
Yep.
Do you believe that the people that you're dealing with have your best intentions at heart or not?
That's good.
And
Yep.
if you
Yep.
can frame the intention knowing that this person is not ever trying to do anything to deter you or
Yeah.
not for your benefit, then you can take
Yep.
information and do with it what you may. But
Yeah. What did you do as a young father or as you were growing in your role as a father that you want your daughters to never experience?
I made a lot of mistakes, right? I say that in the song.
Yeah.
So I say, Dad's not perfect.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes. I've done plenty of things that I would, I regret.
Yeah.
I again, I was not a drug user or alcohol abuser. My vice was women for a long period of time,
Yeah.
long period of time, and it wasn't even for the sake of. It was just I'd rather be around a bunch of women than a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
But right, it just so happened that when you put that type of energy in a room, shit starts to happen.
Yep.
I want my kids to always be able to lead from a place of knowing what they want
Mm.
because they know who they are, right? And
Mhm.
when you it's like sort of like church, right? There's no dress code, but you just know better,
Yep.
right? So
That-
you know what I'm
that's real. There is no but
it's like,
don't
come
wear
as you
that.
are,
Don't wear that. Right. Yeah.
there's always a but, and if you have to have sort of how you conduct yourself
Yeah.
creates these invisible boundaries where people don't even try certain,
Mhm.
which that's not the one.
Teaching people how to treat you.
Exactly, and you
Yep.
have to be steadfast in that. So I was very heavy on, my daughter's that boy. I want to hear that boyfriend shit. 'Cause until I am convinced that you are convinced of who you are,
Yeah.
that nobody can shake you from your core,
Yeah.
you don't need to be involved with it because that's what little dudes do, and not because some of them do it not knowing that's
Right.
what they're doing,
Yep.
but it's an internal game, and I don't want them to ever. Nobody
Yeah.
listen. My daughters will not be played
I know
by
that's real.
none of these young Thundercats because I'm gonna tell them all the
Yep.
and that's
Everything
another
they need
thing.
to know.
And I try to, and again, I know my girls don't want to talk to me about
Yeah.
boys because I'm dad, and I should tell. And this sounds horrible, but I should tell my I used to tell my daughters that all little boys have AIDS, except for me and your brother.
No,
Except for me and your
no,
brother.
no.
I used to say that it was funny. I meant it, but I was like basically saying, "Don't, yeah."
Right. Stay
I'm
away.
all them, yeah. And at the core of it, and now because I've my daughter's older, 23, I have to tell like, listen, at the core of it is this is this simple.
Yeah.
I'm the only man in your life that is never going to want anything from you
Mm.
ever. Now, let that soak in.
Yeah.
So anything that I'm saying to you
Yeah.
is not for. I'm not trying to get it. It's for your benefit.
Yes.
Not saying what I say is always right, but it's always in your best interest. I'm
Yes.
trying to come
Yep.
from a place of protection,
Yep.
and
Yep.
not depletion.
Yeah. That's so good. And just even when you were talking about just the intentionality of it, right? Like now with your lived experiences and knowing who your children are, like being really intentional and almost kind of prescribing for each of them what you realize they need because
Yeah,
they're all
and
different.
all different too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
with my new marriage and my daughter,
Yeah.
new daughter, having enough, giving enough space for us to grow
Yep.
and for our relationship to be what it's going to be
Yeah.
without being overbearing and forceful, and we have our own thing, right?
Yep.
And so without putting time limits on things or
Mm.
trying to force
Yep.
certain situations, that at the end of the day, all a person, but it starts with a child, wants to know and understand is that this person is here for me
Yep.
through and through, no matter
Yep.
what,
Yep.
unconditionally.
Yep. You gotta
And
feel and know that support is there
period. And if you do
as a
that,
baseline. Yes.
that is
As a
the
baseline.
baseline.
Yep.
There can't be any wavering in the fact
Yep.
of whether that you're going to be there when I need
Yeah.
you, and just to be there, even if the need's not there. The fact is, you could call me.
Yes.
I'm there whenever you need me, and
Yeah.
that to me, I think that's the most important thing I could do,
Yep.
as a parent. And as you evolve and the kids get older, then your relationships change and you
Yeah.
become friendly.
Right.
I don't want to say friends because I'm a firm believer. Like I'm friendly with my mom. Like we have a great time. I love my mother to death. I wouldn't say I respect my mother too much to be,
that she's like your
totally
friend.
friends with my mom. Like I am, we have a great relationship, and I know a lot of my shit I got from her. I like looking in the mirror, like literally, with the idiosyncrasies and everything. But those relationships are important, and feeding them, and nourishing them is at the top of my list of everything I do.
That's so amazing. The one thing that I do want to talk about is, like you mentioned, that you have these 4 women in your life that play a major role in impacting the children that you have. And when we talk about each individual being their own person and having to navigate each individual person, it can't be this one size fits all, that this is how I treat everybody in my life. How has it been navigating these different relationships?
I've been blessed that there's some gaps in time, in space, and age.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so the ages range, and then there's some that have their own stresses because of what they are. I was only married to one. So that's a difference in that regard. And then between those things, and then time, space, and continuum, right? They're all different, and I grew too. So here's the thing: I had to tell my kids this, and kids, my youngest Novi, her name is November. So my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter, are born on the same day, 14 years apart.
Wow.
Yeah. She's named November. She's born in March. She named November because I'm born.
Okay.
But all my kids, Novi's the daddy's favorite. What they don't understand is that they've all been Novi. They've all been her. They just don't remember it. They've all had that chance. Here's the other thing they don't know and understand: that, like anything that you do over time, you get better at it.
You get better.
You get better at it. You get put in different situations. Fiscally is different. I mean, she's reaping those benefits. Like,
this
the commercial,
so real.
The commercial where I think it's a Huggies commercial where the first parent, they drop the pacifier on the ground and they boil it. The second pass, but you just. But you get better at things, and then you evolve, and you understand what's important and what's not important, and you also, hopefully, your situation should be better. And they don't, but they reap those same benefits in different ways. But those are the things that that
I hear that so much.
Crazy.
So much when it comes to a father who's not necessarily in the household with the children all the time, and there are other siblings. And then they're looking at and judging, here's the one that's your favorite, or you spend more time with them than you did with us, and just kind of that whole perception.
Grass is always greener. And I totally understand. Like, for me, like with my daughter, my youngest, she's in Houston. I'm in Houston at least once a month.
Okay.
I'm leaving tomorrow to go.
Okay.
So at least once a month, if not twice. We rotate holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving. I get her for like 42 days in the summer. Spring break, and then anything she got going on, she has a little concert, whatever. I'm there and on the next thing smoking. Because I feel it's important, right? Now, is that looked at favorably from the other? No, that's not, like, whatever. I'm like, okay, so I had to say, like, look, you gotta, when I come, I never used to understand this. This was another thing. So I got married in California. I don't know if anybody's familiar with California and how they do things.
The laws are
a little different
when it comes to,
So I had a child support case in California for one at the time. I think I was paying like $17.50 or something crazy for one. My argument at court was like, okay, well, when I go to pick her up, is she gonna send some of that money for me to? I mean, like I'm I'm barren. I'm doing
out.
this.
Can I get some of that for the stuff we're doing?
And here's the other thing: I never understood, and this just was a thing to stick me. So I'm like, look, we don't need to go to the court. I just give you. But no, I don't, and that's the ploy, because that's what women are told is the way to do it. Well, we didn't have the courts in our business when we was doing our thing. We didn't stop and say, hey, before we hit this dog,
right?
that was never a thing. So why now? Like, and I would really employ people to get to a place to where they can have adult conversations and do what's right. Now, if you're in a situation that dude's on some bull,
absolutely,
yes, do what you got to do to get what you got to get. I totally am a fan of that. But not when you have willing participants to do what you want to do.
Yep. You know what I've learned in talking with women and asking questions about why is child support involved when you're able to communicate, like you're able to talk with this person, you're showing up at events together, you clearly have a rapport.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yes, the showing up at events. Like you clearly have a rapport. So why, if this is something that is causing a divide, what is it? I've had so many women say to me and not clearly articulate this, but what I gather is the ways that I feel like he has manipulated me, the ways that I feel like my emotion is still involved with him, that I don't feel strong enough to stand up for or to combat or to say what my non-negotiables are, put these boundaries in place. So I'm going to use the court to do that. Because if I have just this agreement with him, he may say 1 month, I don't got it. Or how about I do this instead of this? And now you're navigating that and trying to figure it all out, where if they can just have this in place, I can kind of have some structure with this man who I feel like runs all over me and gets me all, out of sorts. This is partly what I feel like women are trying to say. Like, I'm not strong enough at times to deal with the emotions that I have that make me acquiesce to, that thing that made me like this nigga.
Right. Well, again, it comes down to intention.
Yes.
Now, if you believe that this person's intentions are to
manipulate you and do all of that, then
get you a third party.
Exactly.
Now, if you're just trying to, okay, I'll give you a great example. During the course of us dissolving, I was like, look, I threw a number out. Like, this is because I got so familiar with how this. Remember, I filed, so I did my due diligence.
I did my due diligence. Yeah.
So I gave her a number that was better than I knew that the court would say. Like, look, this is gonna be it. No, I want to go to court, and then because she, you do that. Okay, all right, cool. Court said, gave that number out. It was way lower. Yeah. I was like, we're gonna do what the court said.
Yeah. Yep.
Since that's what you wanted to be. But the man that I am, my kid would hurt.
Yes.
And so that I bend on that. I go above and beyond for my kids. Always will, as long as I'm breathing. I feel it's my duty.
Yep.
But that's a great example of always thinking I'm trying to, like, I'm doing what I feel is best. And sometimes on both ends, maybe you don't have it.
Yep.
Let's figure out a way. That's what co-parenting is. You're supposed to fill in the void when the other cannot or is not able to.
And that's the beauty of having two parents.
Absolutely.
That is what it's about. What you don't have, I might have. Right. And it's not about finances either.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be about just, morality. It could be about religion and just values and structure and all of these things that there's such a beauty in being able to tap into these two people to get the things that you need from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
for whatever reasons, again, and I know what it is. It's emotion. It's that emotion and trying to evoke a response.
Yeah.
Specifically when there's always one that wants in when the other one wants out.
Yeah.
There's never, if you've ever come into a situation where both like, you know what?
Yeah.
We both out. That's usually a very cool situation.
Yeah.
That's never the case. One wants out, or one feels, one of the parties feels like they were done dirty.
Yep.
And now the get back is, we're going to do everything under the sun when we start. I'm going to hit you with everything in the kitchen sink.
Yep.
On the way out.
Yep.
And damn anything that you got going on with the kid in the lurch, because
Yeah.
of it. And that's the down
Yep.
side of it all.
That's the part. It's so unfortunate. I want to thank you so much for just this opportunity to chat with you about co-parenting and just the courage I feel like too to say like, hey, this is who I am and this is what it is. Because you
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna give it to you straight.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Chef.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming to Co-Parenting
Thank
Confessions.
you for having me.
I would love, love, love to have you back
Absolutely.
to keep talking because
Absolutely.
I have a 22-year-old and you
Listen.
got 23 and
Yeah, and a 25, my
25.
my son, yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm learning so much now about what co-parenting is in that space.
Yeah, that's different.
It is
Different.
very different because now I'm able to see really the fruits of your labor, for a better way of
Yeah.
saying it, like all of the things that you poured into them, the lessons,
Yeah.
the things that you've been saying, and now they're spitting things back at you that you're like, okay, so you
Yeah.
was actually listening, and now you're navigating life, but then checking in with the other parent
Yeah.
about the things that you're recognizing happening for them,
Right.
because it doesn't stop.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah, the parenting
it does
doesn't end.
not
Yeah.
stop.
No.
But yes, thank you so much for coming. It has been an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
I value you as a father and your experiences.
Thank you.
That is so important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Co-parenting confessions. You guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This is one of my favorite episodes because I feel like this was just a great conversation. There's so much to get from it. You have to share this with somebody. You know somebody that needs to hear all this stuff that we just said today. So go ahead and share right now. Co-parenting confessions. We out. That was good. I loved it.
MBC. No relation to NBC.